intensive. That is due to availability of a huge amount of labor. In that case, the machine should be shifted from one place to another place, or you can say that this machine should be mobilized from one place to other places. The next part is that it is used in the environment where product demand is and workstation in the facilities can be easily rearranged due to availability of a huge amount of manpower. The next part is we have already discussed, that is craft analysis, or that is known as computer relative allocation and facility techniques. So this is a particular improved algorithm in case of arrangement of machines in a particular subfloors or in a manufacturing environment. As far as concerned with this particular craft, it is developed by your Armour and Bufa during rapid industrialization in case of US, or in case of other developed country who are directly focused on industrializations. So it start with an initial layout by the help of improve, and the next one is layout by interchanging the departments and sub-department, those who are directly or indirectly involved. The concerned department also are arrange, and they make a particular pairwise, and is that pairwise to minimize the or reduce the cost of transportation in between interlinked department and other department. The next part is layout planning. As you know, in case of layout planning is the most important as far as concerned with the good manufacturing practice. In that particular scenario, it is a procedure of making a layout and plant, as you know, in case of making improvement or making a robust procedure in case of manufacturing environment. This particular layout helps number of tools and techniques. Those who are, we have already discussed, the tools and techniques are, that is known as a flow chart, then process flow chart, the next is a template, then the next is machine data card, and the last one is your scale diagrams. So today we are discussing the next topic. The topic uh, is it the PPT is visible?
Yes,
The
sir.
PPT is okay.
Yes, sir.
So in this topic, we are discussing on method and product flow analysis and minimization of interflows. Uh, just a minute. That is that is method of flow product flow analysis, and just a minute. So this topic is some technical error is there. So in this method and as you know, in case of just a minute. Uh, is the PPT is visible? Is the PPT is visible?
Yes, yes, sir. Visible.
Okay. Uh, just a minute, just a minute. It is auto rotate to the first page. So in case of method and product flow analysis, sorry for the technical error. Just a minute. Can you visible the screen? Hello.
No, sir.
Is it visible?
No, sir.
Is it visible?
No, sir. No, sir.
Is it visible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. It is auto rotate to the first slide itself. Okay, so in case of method and your product flow analysis and minimization of intercell movement, the first one is that is known as we have already gone through as far as concerned with the good manufacturing procedures. The next part is your product flow analysis. So this particular concept is developed by your Bolbridge in the year 1971 and is a method for identifying part families and associated machine group that uses the informations contained on production route sheet rather on part drawing. So this production flow analysis, which identify the different part family, you can say that is your different component and sub-component which directly assigned or directly associated with machine group. For example, in a particular automobile garage, the different machine in case of joining application, in case of uh, sheet metal operations, so these are directly combined by the association of identify the machine group by use of information contained on the production route sheet rather than on part drawing. So this part with identical and similar routing are classified into the part family. Suppose in that particular automotive workshop, some part are directly related to assemble work or joining work, and some part are directly or sub-components are directly related to your sheet metal part. So these are directly pairwise and make a particular group. This is the concept behind product flow analysis. The next part is that the product flow analysis is neither used as a classification and coding system nor part drawing to identify the families, and it uses the informations. It uses the information such as part number, operation sequence, lot size, and the next part is your lot size, and it contains the root sheet also. So this method directly based on the root sheet information, and sometimes refer as the root sheet inspection methods. So whenever you directly go to a manufacturing organization, in case of productions, most of the machines, for example, in case of maintenance, for example, in case of electrical maintenance, these maintenance part and sub parts are that contain some information. So for example, in case of part number is there, identification is there, specification is there, barcode is there. So these contains various specifications, and as you know, in case of uh, specification, the next one is the operation sequence, lot size, and it also contains the different type of root sheets. And this product flow analysis or this particular method is based upon the roots in information in the form of template, in the form of your process flow diagram or flow process diagram, and that should be referred to the root sheet inspection of methods. Moving to the next slide. So these are the advantages. Part classification and coding uses design data, and part you can say that product or flow analysis uses manufacturing data in the form of root sheet to identify the part families. And the product flow analysis can be overcome two possible anomalies, that is sometimes deviated from the standard, normal, and expected. That may occurs. Uh, occurs in the part classifications. The next part is that the product flow analysis. Just a minute, it's directly jump from one place to other place. So in case of product flow analysis, in case of product flow analysis, it can overcome two possible anomalies that is already defined now. That is directly deviated from the standard normals and your expected. Expectant that is directly deal with the parts classification and codings. So if you go to the first part, whose basic geometry are quite different, may nevertheless require similar or identical process routing. And the second part is that the part whose geometry are similar and may nevertheless require process routing that quite different. So they are similar and dissimilar parts, which are, for example, in case of carpentry shop, number of different chisels are using for removing unwanted material in case of wood. But in case of joining tools, some others or specially designed tools are classified in case of as far as concerned with their coding specifications and root sheet as far as concerned with the good manufacturing practice. Moving to the next ones, it also in case of product flow analysis, it requires less time that complete a part classification coding procedures. And the next one is the disadvantages of product flow analysis. The product flow analysis not provide any mechanism and rationalizing, just a minute. Rationalizing the manufacturing routings. The no consideration being given to the routing sheet, whether the routing are optimal or consistent or logical. The process sequence from the route sheet are prepared by the different process planner, hence the routing may contain process steps that are non-optimal and illogical and unnecessary. So these are the few disadvantages which directly belong to product flow analysis. Moving to the next ones, this is the most important part. The next one is the step involved in case of product flow analysis. So in that product flow analysis, just a minute. The following four steps are followed or carried out in case of product flow analysis. The first one is data collection and sortation of processing routines. The next one is preparation of product flow analysis chart, and the last one is cluster analysis. That means you have to pairwise and assign the particular job to the different type of machines. Moving to the next ones, the first one is as you know, in case of first step, that is the data collection step. The particular step in case of your product flow analysis procedure is to collect the necessary data. The next one is the root sheet of all components to be manufactured in the shop are prepared. And the next part is that the root sheet should contain the part number and operation sequence. And other data can be collected and obtained from the root sheet and operation sheets, include lot size, time standard, and annual demand. The next part is that the next step, that is sortation of process. The second step of your product flow analysis is to arrange the part family and according to the similar process and routines. The next part is the typical card format. As you know, in case of machine data, they provide make a particular display. That displays provide such information that is known as part number. The next is sequence of code, then lot size, and the sortation process is used to arrange the part into number of pack. And as you know, just a minute. As you know, the pack is nothing but a group of parts or a pairwise part with identical process routing, and some packs even contain only one part numbers. A pack identification letters, a pack identification letters or a identification or letter provided for the each pack. The next is step number 3, that is product flow analysis chart. A product flow analysis chart is a graphical presentation of process used for each pack. As you know, each pack contain similar machines or pairwise machines for similar operation and similar sequence, which contains same specification, same code, and same lot size. In that part, just a minute. In that part, it is a tabulation of process. It is a tabulation of process of machine's code. Just a minute. It's a tabulation of machine's code and number of all parts pack, and also known as these are also known as part machine incidence matrix or component machine incidence matrix. So I will show that a particular table of a typical product flow analysis which contains 7 machine and 9 parts. So these are the specification of this product flow analysis of a particular shop floors. Here, as you see in the left, see the left part which contains. Just a minute. As you see in the picture, the left side contain a number of machines starting from M1 to M7, and number of parts should be placed horizontally from P1 to P9, and that task should be assigned as per the given sequence by the top level of management who are directly involved, or which is they provide the job assignment to the number of machines as well as the part numbers. The next part is that in this particular matrix, as you see, the entries values which is stand for the, just a minute. The entry value, that is xij equals to 1, and which means just a minute. So you see in this particular pictures in the part matrix, it is automatically shift from first page. Okay. So in this matrix, the entries have a value that is xij that is equals to 1 or maybe 0. The next part is that the value of xij equals to 1, which indicates that the corresponding part I requires the processing on machine j. And the next part is that the xij equals to 0, which indicate that there is no processing of component I is accomplished on machine j. However, in the above table, the 0 are indicated as the blank, and the as a entry the entries of better clarity of matrix. The next part is your cluster analysis. In the part of cluster analysis, from the product flow analysis chart, related to grouping are identified and rearranged into a new pattern that bring together pack with similar machine sequence. So the table given below in the next slide uh, just a minute. Okay, the table given below, that is possible rearrangement of original product flow analysis chart, and it is clear from the cluster analysis that the product flow analysis that is of a given subfloor. Consider we have three part family and three machine cell as shown in the figure below. So as you go to the next step, as you seen in the first figure, the part 1. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Hello.
Better, Rekha, you send your email, just text your email ID that I will send the PPT and you will share that one. Okay. There is some problem in case of my laptop. In the chat box, you can drop your text. I will send the PPT.
Yes, sir. I'm sending you my mail ID.
Okay, okay. Just wait, just wait. There is some technical error. It directly skip to PPT number 1. Your email ID. Anyone, you can drop your email ID. Okay.
Sir, I have sent you my mail ID.
I have already forwarded the PPT. Yeah? Already sent. You can download and share the PPT. That I will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just a minute.
You can share the PPT. Okay, I will. Just enlarge.
Yes, sir.
Okay, going to the next one.
Just a minute. Is it visible?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Sir, which slide should I go with?
Go to the cluster analysis. Cluster analysis.
Cluster. Just a minute. Yes, sir.
Okay, this one, this one.
Yes, sir.
So in case of from the product flow analysis, that is directly related to directly related to your related grouping and identify the rearrangement of new machine in case of pairwise. This particular table shows the different product flow analysis in case of part with a similar pair and dissimilar parts, and which contains part identification, part codings, and arrangement of machine in it pairwise systematic manner. In that particular table, as you see, it is clear from the product flow analysis chart, and consider that there may be three families. So these families are which contain the different cell as far as concerned with this particular tables. So if you go to the part families, that is M3 is there, sorry, M1 is there, then M5 is there, and in the cell R, that is M1 and M5 is there. So similarly, if you go to the next part family, that is P2, and the next cell is M4 and M7 is there, and next part family, that is your which contains that is M4 and M5, M6. Similarly, that is M2, M7, and M6 is be included. Moving to the next one. Just slide the next one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in case of machine cell design and layout, as far as concerned with the good manufacturing practice, the machine layout aim at determining the best arrangement of machine in each product cells. So as you know, the product cell contain different type of machines, tool, equipments, which is make a particular pair as far as concerned with the sequence of operation, sequence of process flow. The next part is code, and the last part is your flow process root sheet. In case of minimization of material handling cost is often used objective to determine the layout of machining cells. So, if you take the example of any kind of industries where the maintenance department, the store departments are directly make a position in between different department, they reduce the cost of material handling. If you position the store or maintenance department in between the production department, it is easy to reduce the material handling cost, to reduce the distance as well as the reduce the cost of material handling. Moving to the next slide, that is just move to next one.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as you see in the particular figure, that is the first figure belong to a articulate robot which is assigned to a 5 number of workstations, and that articulate robot directly communicate or directly assign number of job which is positioned in a center wise. Similarly, a automated AGV vehicle, that is automated guide vehicle, is placed in between 6 number of workstation to smooth the flow of raw material from one workstation to another workstations. Just enlarge, these are not visible. You can enlarge this one little bit. I had to zoom this
Yes,
one.
sir. So just a minute, I'm doing, just a minute.
It is my fault that my system is not working properly during presentations or your online classes.
Enlarge नहीं हो रहा है ये.
बस उतना ही. Okay. So moving to the next ones, if you go to the next ones, in that case, I will discuss as far as concerned with this particular topic. So in case of, just a minute. Okay. So in case of constraint related to availability of space, then material handlings. The next one is your material handling system by implementation of automated guide vehicles, and there are so many things should be considered. That the type of operator and parts are not only the factor. The impact of layout of machine should be a very much essential in case of machine cell design and layout. The next part is that in case of in case of type of material handling system to be used and also need to be considered. For example, articulate robot, as we are already discussed, and implies circular arrangement of machines. If an automated guide vehicles should be arranged in between number of cells, and it has been selected to tend the same machine, and it would have been necessary to use the layout which is already shown in the figure below. The next part is that there are some principle is followed in case of your product flow analysis, that is known as your uh, in case of product flow analysis, that is known as uh, just a minute. Moving to the next ones, in case of good machines arrangement, that is just a minute. Actually, these are not visible properly. I'll take the reference from the slide.
रोटेट हो
Go to
नहीं
the
एक्चुअली
portrait
देखो
mode. Okay, fine. I will.
यहाँ पे
So
नहीं
in
हो रहा है
case of
रोटेट
good, okay, fine. In case of a good machine layout to arrange product flow analysis.
अब हो रहा है
Just a minute. Good. Okay. So in case of good machine layout is to arrange the product and functional cell form in the factory flow. If you go to the first point, that is determine or identify the layout of machine cell involved locating the cell in order to minimize the total material handling cost subject to some constraint. If you take the example of Dhamra port that is taken by Adani Group, if you go to that particular site, they have arranged or they have placed so many automated guide vehicle and even if conveyor belt, that belt directly minimize the total material handling cost subject to port activities or in case of loading and unloadings. The next part is if all cells were square in shape, suppose the machine's equipment tool were in a square shape, in that thing, the same size, then the cell layout can be modeled as per the quadratic assignment problem. That means what? You have to place the concerned department which is directly related to your mechanical maintenance or electrical maintenance or quality check department should be placed in between the square shape that directly go to the model of your quadratic assignment problem. The next part is cell layout problem can be viewed as a machine layout problems where each machine represents a cells. So as far as the concern with your good manufacturing practice, good assembly lines, good product flow analysis and plannings, these are very much essentials. That is why the cell layout problem can be viewed as a machine layout problem where each machine represents a cell. The next part is through a cellular manufacturing or group technology which directly offer numerous benefit. It is not always the implement due to the followings. The first one is your part and machines may not form mutual exclusive clusters. So as far as concerned with the cluster analysis, we know that part families with similar specification, similar coding, similar root sheet are make a pairwise, which is diagnosed or which is analysis through the cluster analysis. And for cluster analysis, the data required from the formation of cell might not be available. So sometimes in case of uncertainty of demand for a new product, what will happen? There is no particular data is available, and that may be use of your cellular manufacturing or group technology for fulfill the, or you can say that is to maintain the balance between demand and the supply as far as concerned with the manufacturing environment. Moving to the next slide, just go to the next slide. Next one is your quantitative analysis in case of cellular manufacturing. The first one is your rank order cluster methods. It is also known as the binary ordering algorithm. It is simply algorithm used to form the machine part, and it was developed by J.R. Kings during 980s. And it considered two data, especially in case of cluster analysis, you know the part data specifications, so that are already displayed through the monitors. As far as concerned with the manufacturing environment, the number of first one is the number of component and component sequence based upon the component sequence, and machine part index matrix is developed. And if you go to the next part, the raw of machine component incident matrix represent the machine which are required to process the component, and the column of matrix represent the component number. So if you go to the any kind of industry, in case of sugar industry or process industry or chemical industry, most of the machine are put in a line manner, or you can say that is U shape or Z shape or T shape, to arrange the incident matrix in a such a way that they require the process of components, the smooth flow of raw material from one place to other place. So there were most important thing also considered in case of column-wise matrix, that is known as incidence matrix, represent the component number. So as far as concerned with the machine equipments and tools, as you know that the component number is most important. According to the job assigned to the number of employees, starting from assigning the job, then setting the machines, the flow of raw material from one place to other place. These are most important things, and this component number is play a vital role in case of product flow and product inspection, trackings. The next part is the packaging and dispatch. All the things should be considered according to the component number. The next part is moving to the next one. So if you go to the row-wise concept, the each row and each column of this particular machine matrix consider the binary of particular word. And the example of this particular, suppose in case of cluster analysis, if you assign a machine number 1, that is 10101, in that thing, the decimal equivalent is also computed. How they computed? For in case of raw decimal equivalent, suppose the first machine is assigned part number 1, that is 1 into 24. And the 24, 23, and 22, and 21, and 20 are the given number as far as concerned from the data collected from the previous manufacturing process. And if you calculate the raw decimal equivalent, that is your 21. The value is 21. Moving to the next one, in case of column 1, going to the next slide. So in case of column 1, if a column has following the entries of from the top to bottom, the decimal equivalent is computed as the explained below. Suppose the decimal value as far as concerned with the column entry, that is 110 and 10. So the column decimal equivalent is 1 into 24 into 1 into 23 plus 0 into 22 and 1 into 21 and 0 into 20. And the value is your 26. Just slide the PPT, then I will explain next one. So from this particular largest decimal equivalent is considered to have the highest rank among rank 1 among the rows, and column with largest decimal value that is equivalent to consider have the highest rank among the columns, and that value should be considered for arrangement of machines, tool, and equipment in case of shop floor, in case of manufacturing. You can take the example of automotive units, take the example of large integrated organizations where they are practicing the good manufacturing practice. As I told, in case of good manufacturing practice, the most important thing is line balancing, or your assemble line is most important. The next step of your that is ROC algorithm, that is step 1 or step 0, that is input the total number of component, and then component sequence should be considered. The next one is step number 2, from the machine component, the incident matrix as far as concerned with the raw matrix and your column matrix of the component sequence should be mentioned. The next is step number 2, compute the binary equivalent of raw, and step number 3, that is rearrange the raw of matrix in rank wise, that is high to low from the top to bottom as far as concerned with the raw and columns. The next is compute the binary equivalent of each column and check whether the column of matrix are arranged in a rank wise and high to low from the left to right bottom. So as you saw in the cluster analysis, the part we have already mentioned the number of machine is 7 and number of parts is 9. So whenever the production manager or operation manager assign the tasks to the different number of worker to the different number of machines, they are using this particular method, cluster analysis method or cluster analysis algorithm, to compute the row wise and the column wise index matrix. The next is, if it is not done directly, go to step number 7. The next one is step number 5, that is rearrange the columns and the column matrix rank wise and compute the binary equivalent from each row. The next step is check whether the raw and matrix of arrange rank wise. If it is not, go to the step number 3, that is already we have already discussed. Then in case of otherwise, directly go to step number 5. And then finally print the final machine component incident matrix, and that printed machine component index matrix is given to the shop floor, where the employees and you can say that is the peoples are directly involved with production activities. They can follow the instruction as far as concerned with the root sheet of final machine component index matrix. So moving to the next slide. So here is another method, that is Hollier method of simple problems. So in case of Hollier method, it is the fast method uses the sum of flow from and to each machine in case of cells. This method can be outlined as follows. If you go to the point number 1, develop the form to chart from the part routing data, and the data content chart indicate the number of parts moved between the machine for workstations. Moving to the next one, just point number 2, that they determine the form to from to sum of each machine, and that accomplished by the summing of all form trips to the truth strip of each machine or operation. So this form sum of machine is determined by adding the entries in corresponding to the rows, and two sum is founded in adding entries to the corresponding columns. For example, in an automotive workshop, as you see, in case of manufacturing processes, there are different processes, joining processes there, then assembly processes are there. In that thing, suppose you are assigning the raw index matrix to the raw side. That means the joining machines equipments tool are placed in a row wise, and in case of assembly operation, which is placed, the machine tool and component are placed in column wise in case of this two sum found by adding entries. Moving to the next slide. Just move the slide. Okay. So this is the second method in case of Hollier method or simple problem. Assign machine to cell based on minimum from two sums. The machine having the smallest sum is selected. If the machine value is 2 sum, then the machine is placed at the beginning of the sequence. If the minimum value is a form sum, then the machine is placed at the end of the sequence. If there is a tie break, if you can implement the tiebreaker rules. So as far as concerned the tiebreaker rule, if a tie occurs in between minimum to sum and minimum from sum, then the machine with minimum form to ratio is selected. The next is, if the to and from sum are equals, to selected the machines, it is passed over the machine with the next lowest sum is selected. If a minimum sum to sum is equal to the minimum from sum, then the both machines are selected and placed at the beginning and the end of sequence respectively. For example, in case of packaging of different component, what will happen if there is no requirement of leveling machines? If you found the index matrix in case of sum to your from sum, in that case you can directly place after the sequence of operation or during the packaging of that particular machine. The next is going to the next slide, that is Hollier method 2. So this approach is used to form or to ratio formed by the summing the total flow from to each machine in the intercell. So this method can be reduced in 3 steps, that is developed from 2 chart, and this is the same step in Hollier method. Determine the form to ratio each machine, and this is accomplished by summing up all the form trips and to the trips for each machine or operations. So this form sum for a machine is determined by adding the entries in the corresponding row, and in case of to sum, the determined by adding the entries in the corresponding column. For each machine, the form or to ratio is calculated by taking the from sum for each machine and divided by the respective two sums. Clear? The next part is moving to the next part. In case of arrange the machine in order to decrease the form or to ratio, the machine with high form to ratio distribute work to many machines in the cell but receive work from the few machines. And conversely, the machine with a low form to ratio receive more than they distribute. Therefore, the machine are arranged in order to descending form of IP ratio, that is known as industrial protection ratio. The next part is this is the machine with a high ratio are placed at the moving to just slide, just tell the slide. The next one is okay. That is the machine with high ratio are placed at the beginning of workflow. A machine with low ratio are placed at the end of the workflow. So in this case of a tie, the machine with higher form value is placed ahead of machine with lower value are placed back side of the assemble work. Moving to the next slide. The next one is your just in time. We have already gone through in your previous semester regarding just in time concept in case of supply chain management, just in time concept in case of manufacturing environment, just in time concept in case of service industries, just in time concept in case of product industry. So as far as concerned with the just time concept, so this is nothing but a technique can be risks, and especially if it is not implemented correctly. But if you find the organization can do it rightly way, then it can be move rewarding. So if you implement the just-in-time concept correctly, the common objective of organization should be fulfilled through the maximization of profit. I will take the best example in case of Mahindra Rise concept, where Mahindra and Mahindra implemented the just-in-time concept in case of cargo trucks or large trucks, where they can provide sales after service in a just-in-time concept wise, or technically you can say that is they implement the just-in-time concept in a systematic manner, and due to that impact, their sales will be maximized in case of multi-axle trucks. So moving to the next one, the just-in-time concept involves having the item received in case of organizations and just at the time when it is needed. So the basic concept of just-in-time is that when you require a particular product, that should be easily available in the organization. So as far as concerned with the manufacturing aspect. But in case of service industry, when you need the product, that should be speedily, safely, and quickly delivered to the customer. So when the customer needs the particular product or demand. The next part, it can be risky because there may be so many variables which cannot be always perfectly predictable. As far as concerned with Indian scenario, most of the companies fail to implement just-in-time concept. If you take the example of Umfed dairy industries as compared to Milk Moo, Umfed are not the Umfed dairy industry is not implementing the just-in-time concept. As far as concerned with the private organization, they are always implementing just-in-time concept as far as product delivery, distributions, sales, even if increase the sales through the different promotional activities by implementing just-in-time concept. Moving to the next slide. So if you go to the concept of just-in-time in case of that is also known as just-in-time manufacturing and also known as just-in-time production, or this is otherwise known as a Toyota production system. It's a methodology aimed primarily at reducing time within the production system as well as response time from the supply to the customers. So basically, the just-in-time in case of production, in case of manufacturing, they are implementing to reduce the time within the production system and response time from the supplier and to the customers. Just imagine in case of supply chain resilience during pandemic situation like COVID-19, most of the supply chain companies they are implementing this particular concept to reconstruct the or to overcome the resilience of supply chains disruption across India and across globally to sustain to success and survive in the global market. Moving to the next slide, in case of just-in-time concept, as you know, there is if you see the particular figure, in case of just-in-time, they directly focus on zero inventory, zero lead times, then zero failure, and the last one is zero delay. So in case of zero inventory, most of the company are maintain a particular level of inventory when the inventory is needed in case of operation, in case of manufacturing, they should be directly placed nearer the workflow. The next part is zero lead times. As you know, the lead time should be start in case of process, that is the starting time in between the time between starting and end of the process, that should be eliminated whenever you implement the just-in-time concept. If you go to any kind of assemble center, any kind of manufacturing organizations, they should place the inventory nearer to the workstation. Whenever there is a requirement of inventory, they directly consume from that particular reg or that concerned department. The next is zero delay. As you know, in case of implementation of just-in-time concept, as far as service industry, as far as operation industry, as far as manufacturing organizations, the most important thing is if you provide your product in a timely manner, there is they can minimize the impact of delivery good That is why if you implement the just-in-time concept, it directly enhances your speedy of delivery through the distribution network to the different type of retailer as well as the end users. The next is zero failures. So whenever you implement in case of just-in-time concept, in case of failures, suppose you are implementing the just-in-time concept in case of quality and inspection. So in that department, they are always alert and they are find the cause and error of different type of difficulties which is directly related to manufacturing operations. Even if they found any kind of difficulty in case of qualities, this directly helps to eliminate the part of failure in case of product and enhance the quality of the product also. Moving to the next one, these are the objectives. The first one is just in time is more responsive to the customers. If you take the example of air condition company, in case of Blue Star, they provide more responsive to the customers. That is why it is the only one company they provide 3 years sales after service to the customers. So due to that free of sales after service, they directly focus more responsive to provide free of maintenance, free of service, free of installation also. The next part is that to have better communication among department and suppliers. So whenever you implement the just-in-time concept, you have to communicate, coordinate with different departments, sub-department, as well as the raw material suppliers. Moving to the next one, if you implement the just-in-time concept regarding demand informations arise from the customer point of view, it is more flexible. So according to the demand, you have to arrange your capacity requirement, make a particular master schedule, then go for production planning and activities. Whenever you implement the just-in-time concept, it should be more flexible whenever you implement inside the organizations. The next is to achieve better qualities. As you know, in case of no delay or next part is no failure or less failure. In that point, the quality of product should be enhanced by implementing of just-in-time concept. The next is it also reduce the product cost. As far as concerned with the mass productions and batch productions, whenever you implement just-in-time concept, laterally it will be directly affect on the product cost also. The product cost will be reduced. The next part is if you go to the directly go to the case studies. I will tell the case studies. We'll discuss this one in the next class. Going to the next one. Next one. Next one. Okay. So as you know, this is the First Bank of India. The bank name is Punjab National Bank. Go to the company profile or bank profile. Okay, this one. So this is the first bank in case of Indus after before independence. Due to it was found in case of British era. The Punjab National Bank is the Indian multinational bank and commercial bank, financial service companies, a government of India undertaking. It's a board of directors consist of government representatives from the government India, and the Reserve Bank of India is also eminent professional like accountant, then management expert, economist, business, etc. And her headquarters is already situated Delhi. The bank has 76 circles office spread all over the India. Next is if you go to the past scenario, in case of a major scam happened by Nirav Modi, in case of taking a huge amount of loan from bank, the bank faced more number of crises as far as concerned with SEBI, as far as concerned with RBI of India. So due to global banking has changed rapidly, as you know, in case of private sector are more focusing on customers, and they can make their financial benefit through development of more potential customer in different geographical location across India. So due to global banking has changed rapidly, the PNB Bank has worked to adopt those changes. The bank looked forward to the future and with excitement and a commitment to bring greater benefit to the customers. So as far as concerned with the PNB Bank, with years of dedication service to the nation through the active financial participations like agricultural, industry, trade and commerce, service sector, infrastructure, they keeping pace with the changing environment. As 31st March 2017, the bank has over 18 million customers, 6,937 branches and 10,681 ATMs across 764 cities. Uh, Basically, the bank has implemented the just-in-time concept. We will discuss the concept behind just-in-time. Moving to the next slide. Next slide. Okay. So, by implementation of just-in-time concept in case of Punjab National Bank, the most important thing is communication and sharings. So how they implemented, the bank should have the ERP, that is Enterprise Resource Planning software, from any software companies. This will provide all information about the employees of the bank, service provided by the bank, and this will decrease a lot of times and manpowers by preparing different type of information. So before March 2017, there is no particular server which is applicable in case of preparing information regarding manpower, regarding HR, regarding financial data collections. After this particular scam held, in case of PNB loan scam done by that is that Nirav Modi, the bank has implemented a central ERP system, and that ERP system is reduce the manpower as well as reduce the workload of different people who are directly involved with banking activities. The next part is there should be a customer follow-up. So before these things happen, so the different, as you know, in there is 76 circle office are there. In Bhubaneswar, there is a circle office is there. In case of Raulkela, there is a circle office is there. So as far as concerned, the different circle office, they are never team up with the other circle office. So due to that lack of communication, and there is lack of demand or your information sharing, that central operated ERP is not implemented properly. That is why the teamwork is most important things. That is, customer put and query, and then the bank should be contact to customer for informing about the progress now regarding the solution of queries. The most important thing, that every customer provides some query, and it should not be followed in case of different branches of Punjab National. By implementation of just-in-time concept, as you know, in the most important thing in case of just-in-time concept, that is known as your teamwork. And the teamwork should be bring all circle office in a particular platform, and they implement the centrally operated your CRP or ERP software. Moving to the next slide. The next part is if a particular customer provide queries regarding accounts, regarding loans, regarding any kind of suggestion regarding you can say that is ATM related issue. Most of the feedback and suggestion, these are if you go to the past scenario of Punjab National Bank before implementing the just-in-time concept, these are directly go for offline paperwork and most of the employee feedback and suggestions. In this world, advancement of people are so lazy to write and something used by paper. To eliminate the part of offline paperwork, they implement the era of advancement, so that directly focus on some digitized for quick feedback, so that customer would not feel any kind of bother doing the feedback and suggestions. So that is why if you go to the PNB premises in case of banking, they have segregate the different department by implementation of just-in-time concept. And the next part is that if you a particular person is providing a suggestion and feedback regarding your regarding loans, regarding agricultural loans, regarding trade and finance, regarding banking, regarding accounting, regarding finance of vehicle or taking a loan for a automobile. In that thing, the most important thing, they should be directly giving the suggestions and feedback through the implementation of digitization apps. So that is why they recently launched in the past. If you take the example of 2 to 3 years, they have already launched a app, and that app will be provide a quick feedback. There is no bother of doing that particular feedback from different customers. The next part is implementation of quality circles. As you know, the bank has quite a nice team for working on the problem and issue related to their works and make it is possible to run the organization smoothly. So there are quite a nice team working on this implementation of ERP, but the thing is that they are not properly supervised. But by implementation of just-in-time concept, the team should be supervised by a superior chief, and some time and they should change it if is needed. So if you take the example of Bhubaneswar Circle Office, if you take the example of other city circle office, the team should be efficiently and effectively work. but there is no person is tracking their activities and monitoring their activities. That is why their teamwork should not be supervised properly. By the implementation of just-in-time concept, the team should be supervised by a superior chief, and sometimes they should change if needed. They provide the suggestion how to change, how to focus on potential customer, how to focus, for example, in case of making more credit cards for the PNB banks. That is the most important thing. The next part is if you implement the just-in-time concept, that they provide a schedule stabilities. What kind of stability? That is existing. If you take the example of existing system, the bank has a stable schedule with respect to sector works. What are the sector? For example, loan sector is there. The next part is account department is cash telling sector is there. Finance sector is there. HR sector is there. The working from 10 a.m. to your 5 p.m. is quite of a job. All employees work determinations and listen to the customer problem. But if you by the implementation of this particular schedules flexibility, the schedule of bank should be changed a little bit then fit for the customers. So whenever a customer is need, they can be directly able to the directly able to the facility to the customers. The next part is if you go to the next slide, it is frequent and reliable service. So if you take the example of frequent and reliable service as far as concerned with the ERP software, lot of time can be saved, and all the information should be provided online, and the status of service which customer has applied should be known to him. It should be done with the help of ERP software. So that is why before 5 years back, they are not implementing the ERP systematically. By the help of just-in-time concept, they can directly concern with the different cities along with different circle office, different branches, different ATMs, and the status of their service for the customer that has applied to, and that should be known to him. It can be done with the help of ERP software. Moving to the next one. Okay,
Sir,
fine.
our class
That's all.
ଅଛି.
Okay. So thank you all. Any doubts? Okay, fine. Thank you.